I grew up in the same household as everyone else. Same last name, same dinner table, same living room, but somehow I always felt like I was visiting in a way. There's a 9-year age gap between me and my siblings. Me and my brother particularly. But on paper, 9 years doesn't sound like much. But in real life, it felt completely like they have their own world compared to mine. Like they were on a different planet somehow. They had their own jokes, their own memories, and their own stage of life that I could never quite reach. By the time I was old enough to understand their world, they have already moved on. My brother already had a family. My sister is already working a couple of jobs now. But during my time at home, family conversations just felt like listening to a show that I didn't get. Sometimes I try to talk, but try to share opinions, try to be a part of the conversation, but most of the time, I just hear the same thing. The adults are talking. Don't interrupt. Just be quiet. It's disrespectful when the adults are talking, and so I just learned to shrink and just keep quiet in my corner. I started to believe that my thoughts were just extra, unnecessary, or just wrong. Like, speaking up was something that I had to earn and hadn't already earned. And when I did try to be vocal, and when I tried to say what I felt or what I thought, I just get scolded for it. Not because I was trying to be disrespectful, but because it was too much, too loud, too opinionated, too present. So I became the quiet one, the observer, the listener, and the kid that just stayed away. Because not because I had nothing to say, but because I just started to believe that no one really cares or no one wanted to hear what I had to say. Being a gap child is like just being an alien in my own home. Just felt like close enough to everything, but too far. I mean, close enough to see everything, but too far to fully belong in it. Like, I didn't really relate to the adults. I couldn't relate to my siblings. So I stayed in between. Not a child to be included, not old enough to be taken seriously. Just there. And when you grow up feeling like your voice is an interruption, you don't just go quiet at home, you go quiet everywhere. You overthink before speaking, you apologize for even having an opinion, and you feel guilty for taking up space. Because deep down, a part of you still hears that voice that says that the adults are talking, or just be quiet. I guess, um, in the long run, it doesn't really matter. Because what I am learning now is just because people didn't make space for your opinion back then doesn't mean that your opinion is wrong, and or your opinion doesn't deserve the attention that other people might give it, right? You weren't wrong for having your thoughts. You weren't disrespectful for having your feelings. You weren't too much for just wanting to be heard. You were just a kid that's trying to exist in the same space that didn't know how to include you. You couldn't relate to anyone. You're an alien. You were foreign, something that that's not comprehensible. You you were a brand new generation. Being a gap child just made me feel like an outsider for a long time. It made me observant in a way, and also empathetic. I guess I'm aware of how it feels to be left out, and when when I speak, I'm not really interrupting. I try not to interrupt other people. When I do, I just feel bad because I know how it feels to be interrupted. Pretty much, I'm just reclaiming the space that I always wanted to have as a child, and that's about it. Thank you for listening to my yap.